Prowlers begin a big weekend hosting the Continental Division leading Columbus River Dragons. Good evening, everybody. Will Wiggleman here with you on the PHP Network. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Well, the Prowlers will face both division leaders for the first time this season. It will be the River Dragons tonight, the Binghamton Black Bears tomorrow night, and then the River Dragons again on Saturday night. A big measuring stick weekend, a couple of huge tests, and we'll see if the Prowlers are up for the challenge. Well, much more coming up on the pregame show. Next, you're watching Port Huron Prowlers Hockey on the PHP Network. Come fill McMorran Place at every Prowlers home game this season. General admission tickets are just $15 with discounts available for seniors, military, students, and children under 12. Upgrade your experience in one of our suites, or bring the whole squad to the game with discounts for groups of 10 or more. Find your best option to visit the Thumb Coast professional hockey team by visiting phprowlers.com and find the tickets tab, or call the box office at 810-985-6166. Secure your seats today. Welcome back to McMorran Place. We are just minutes away from puck drop between the Prowlers and the Columbus River Dragons. First of two meetings between these teams this season. They'll begin and end their short season series this weekend. But before we get started with tonight's game, let's take a look back at the last game for both of these teams. The River Dragons welcomed in the other FPHL team from Michigan, the Motor City Rockers, last weekend. They swept the Rockers, but the last game on Sunday was the closest meeting of the three, as Motor City put up a good fight thanks to 2 goals and an assist from TJ Sneath and a 3-assist effort from the former Dragon Lane King. Trevor Babin made 47 saves, but it wasn't enough as Ryan Hunter scored the game-winning goal with 58 seconds left on the clock, and Josh Petrantonio put home a hat trick to give Columbus all 9 points in the weekend. Well, for the Prowlers, they went to a shootout not once but twice last weekend against the Elmira River Sharks. The second one, a 3-2 shootout win, as Connor Foley went 2 for 2 in the shootout over the weekend, scoring each time. On Friday, he scored the only goal of the shootout. Saturday, he scored in the first round, and then Dalton Jay got the winner in the third after Blake Peavy tied the shootout in the top of the third round. Well, a nice little back-and-forth game for the Prowlers. 2 victories for Ian Wallace in those 2 shootout games. He has gone beyond regulation in 4 of his last 5 starts and won 3 of those games. We take a look at the standings in the Continental Division. Prowlers still sitting in third place. They have the X next to their names for clinching a playoff spot. Mississippi Seawolves can put that X next to their names tonight as they face off against the Baton Rouge Zydeco in the only other FPHL matchup of this Thursday evening. Seawolves have 3 games in hand on the Prowlers, and if they were to win all 3 of those games in hand, they'd be up to 67 points. So the Prowlers do have a bit of a cushion on Mississippi as they try to battle with the top teams in the league this weekend and maintain their spot in third place in the division. Of course, you see the River Dragons, 119 points, 40 wins, most in the FPHL in both categories. They have 9 games left, and they can lock up the top spot in the Continental this weekend, but the earliest they'd be able to do it is tomorrow. Their magic number is 5 points that they have to gain / the Thunderbirds lose for them to clinch the top seed and have the Continental Division playoffs run through Binghamton, or run through Columbus, like the Empire playoffs will run through Binghamton. And if the Prowlers are going to be successful this weekend, they're going to have to stop this guy, Justin McDonald, who is on a heater of all heaters, 37-game point streak dating all the way back to December 1st, 87 points in that time. If you took away all of his points before this point streak began, he'd be second in the FPHL. He is having a crazy season, and not too surprising. He led the SPHL in goals, assists, and points last year and was their MVP, and led the FPHL in assists and points the year before and was the FPHL MVP. That was back in 2021-22 with the Watertown Wolves. The Wolves won a championship that year. Dragons trying to do the same and hoist their first Commissioner's Cup, and that guy will be a big catalyst to get there if they do so this season. For the Prowlers, a new face in the lineup. Jake Vaughn signed yesterday, played at St. Mary's University, NCAA Division III hockey. He's listed at 6'5", 225 pounds out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. That's some size to the lineup that the Prowlers haven't really had much of this season. Significantly taller than any other Prowler on the roster currently, and he stood out at practice this week. You can see him wherever he is on the ice, and he'll be in the lineup here tonight and listed as an extra forward. Prowlers going with 11 forwards and 5 defensemen in tonight's game as Vaughn slots in as an extra forward along with Tristan Sim. Prowlers' top line staying the same as Connor Foley's found a good home there with Austin Federley and Liam Freeborn. Second line also staying the same. Third line as well as Sim slots into that extra forward position. Same 5 defensemen as last Saturday against the Elmira River Sharks. Only difference in net is another new face for the Prowlers, Oscar Walgren, who was signed today out of Curry College. He will back up Ian Wallace here tonight as the Prowlers and River Dragons get set for period number 1. And we will send you down to ice level momentarily for the announcement of the Prowlers starting lineup. Again, the first meeting between the Prowlers and the Dragons this weekend. They will face each other twice, and those will be the only 2 times they play in the 2023-24 regular season. Let's send you down to Austin Dunn, the public address announcer here at McMorran Place. Sarah Dent back on the anthem here tonight as we get set for puck drop between the Prowlers and the River Dragons. Let's take a look at the starting goaltending matchup for tonight's game. Ian Wallace back between the pipes for the Prowlers once again. This is the third straight game that he started 2 shootout wins over the Elmira River Sharks last weekend. 30-plus saves in both of those wins. William Lavaliere on the other side for Columbus. He was acquired from the Baton Rouge Zydeco after starting the season there back on February 13th. Also saw a little time up with Trois-Rivières in the ECHL last season, made 1 start there. You see the numbers for the season for Lavaliere. Since he's come to Columbus, 3-1 with a .328 goals against average and an .875 save percentage. In case you missed the starting lineup for the Prowlers, Evan Foley centering Vinny DeCumbus, and the rookie Jake Vaughn making his pro debut. Alex Johnson and Frank Schumacher on the back end. Up front for Columbus, the man, the myth, the legend, Justin McDonald will be up front with Kyle Moore and Ryan Hunter. And on defense, Kirk Underwood and Nathan Bulkwill. To start this game, Dragons in their teal 5th anniversary jerseys. Prowlers will be celebrating their 10th anniversary next year. We'll see if there's anything special for that, but for now, we're underway in this one. As Alex Johnson gives it out to Vaughn. He's able to bounce it off the boards out of the zone. Kyle Moore tries to weave his way through. And at his pocket picked by Vaughn. Gives it off to DeCumbus. Tried to make a return feed. It was blocked away by Bulkwill. And he'll send to Underwood, who fires a long pass up in Hunter's direction. Kicked off his skate, and DeCumbus dumps back in. Underwood first after it. Reverses towards Bulkwill. Prowlers get their first change of the game going. As Hunter gets the red line. Right across corner dump. McDonald and Heinzel in there together. And now Austin Federley skates up the left wing wall, slips past Storjahan, stood up there at the red line by another rookie making his pro hockey debut, Parker Layton, wearing number 5 in teal. Signed today from the Larange Ice Wolves in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, his hometown team. Layton going after it with Connor Foley. Foley came out with it, but his centering feed was knocked away. Carter Shinkarik, the veteran defenseman, avoids some forecheckers behind the net, trying to slip up ice. Had his stick lifted by Connor Foley. Now Scantleberry's back in, trying to turn the corner on Hunter Bersani. Centering feed by Jay, kicked off a skate, and it's covered up by Lavaliere. 18-17 to go in period number 1. Both teams testing the goaltenders so far. Shots 2-1 in favor of Columbus. At least here in the arena. Ross Bartlett and Alexander Jemayev set for this face-off. See the captain of the Dragons, Josh Petrantonio, all the way on the near side. Puck came to him. And now he'll send up towards Austin Doe, the former Prowler. Here from 2015 till 2019. As Johnson, his former teammate, gives it up to Scantleberry. Rink-wide feed on the tape of Dalton Jay. Moves in, has Bartlett going to the net, sent it there, just out of his reach. And it's dumped back out by Petrantonio. Backhand dump, Johnson first after it. He'll find Bartlett for Dragons back. Bartlett entered offensive territory, had it poked back out, and then Johnson sends it in, icing waved off. Dan Chartrand first in on the forecheck. It's poked out towards McDonald, and now he sends Hunter on his way from the outside. His shot stopped by Ian Wallace, and then Hunter shown a seat by Braden Deck. Chartrand dumps it right in on Lavaliere. He'll reach up and grab it, And we'll get a whistle and a face-off. 17:08 left to go in period one. So Chartrand will be taking the regular ships on this line with Evan Foley and Vinny DeCumbus, but the Prowlers did give Jake Vaughn the start in his pro debut after finishing this season with St. Mary's University, NCAA Division III. Also played a couple of seasons in the NAHL and his first two college seasons with Connecticut College. Prowlers certainly like his size. I asked Matt Graham at his first practice, I said, what do you think of the new guy? He said, he's big. He was noticeable when I looked out there. Here's Hunter working around Parsons, centering feed, and a good save by Wallace on Moore, who is in tight. Chipped in by Chartrand. Underwood first on it. He'll reverse back to Balkwell. Hunter has the man flying the zone. It's McDonald who catches it at the Prowlers' blue line. Try to feed back across off a stick. Lands behind the cage. Moore to the blue line. Try to back pass towards Balkwell. Finds its way to McDonald. Turning on Evan Foley, who has a tough assignment of containing Justin McDonald. Underwood at the point. Steps around, and his shot missed the target. Balkwell rims it back. Comes up this side. Chartrand able to chip it out. Goes all the way down. And an icing called against the Prowlers, so they'll have some tired legs on the ice for this defensive zone faceoff. Just under 4 minutes gone in the opening period. They were able to get DeCumbus off. So Austin Federley out there, but Chartrand, Foley, Schumacher, and Johnson still out there as the Dragons able to change up. They have Bersani, Wickline, and Storjahan on the ice now. And an unfair drop. So they'll try it again. Bersani didn't even get his stick down. This time we're all set to go. It's tied up, bounces around, right on Schumacher's tape. Federley chips it in. Rest of his line coming off the bench. Lavalier almost turned it over to the oncoming Connor Foley, but the Dragons get out. Storjahan with a dump to the corner. Schumacher rims it up. Wickline to the net. Stopped by Wallace. The rebound kicked down to the slot, and it's knocked to the wall. Schumacher regathers, but played it right into Storjahan. Is able to get it to the point. Leighton with a shot steered to the corner by Wallace. This time Federley able to get it out. Leighton tried to saucer a pass forward. It was taken away. Freeborn got it back in before it's bounced right back out. Adam Heinzel sent it on, but Shinkarik knocked it down. Leighton makes a move, dumps it in, and heads off for a change as Heinzel leaves it for Parsons. New Dragons coming onto the ice. Connor Foley couldn't get it out. Parsons does. He gets the red line and rims it around. Bartlett picks it up on the half wall. Cycles it deep towards Scantleberry. Around the net towards Jay. And a good stick by Alexander Jemayev to get in between that pass. Jay on it again. Gives to Bartlett. Back down towards Jay. Knocks it down behind the net. Sent it out in front. Taken by Petrantonio. He fires it all the way down the ice. And an icing called against the Columbus River Dragons. We'll take our first time out. No score. 14:20 to go in period one. You're watching Port Huron Prowlers hockey on the PHP Network.
I'm proud to serve farmers because everything they do matters.
If I could choose one word to describe a farmer, I would say essential.
Dedicated.
Enterprising.
The most creative people.
They're providing food for the rest of the world.
Some of the qualities I look for when hiring is personality, perseverance, someone that's determined. We want to be able to hire someone that understands what we're supporting, and ultimately that's the grower.
Come fill McMorran Place at every Prowlers home game this season. General admission tickets are just $15 with discounts available for seniors, military, students, and children under 12. Upgrade your experience in one of our suites, or bring the whole squad to the game with discounts for groups of 10 or more. Find your best option to visit the Thumb Coast professional hockey team by visiting phprowlers.com and find the tickets tab, or call the box office at 810-985-6166. Secure your seats today. Back here at McMorran Place, still searching for our first goal, 5:40 into the Munger Physical Therapy first period. As much of world beaters as the Dragons have been all season, 44-3. Their record's even better at home, 24-0-1. They've only lost once at home, picked up a point in all 25 games at the Columbus Civic Center. Prowlers don't have to play there in this regular season, but they are to make it to the Commissioner's Cup. They'll likely have to go through there. Bartlett tosses it around towards Scantlebury. Tried to cycle it back towards Bartlett. In front, looking for Jay. Couldn't get a good stick on it, and he gets caught up in a group of Dragons and slides a bit into Lavaliere. No harm, no foul, though, as everybody will get back set up for the faceoff. Of course, Dalton Jay scoring a memorable goal against the Dragons in this building last year. It was Teddy Bear Toss night. It was the Teddy Bear Toss goal in the second period. Prowlers ended up winning that game thanks to a 5-minute major to begin the third period that they scored 4 times on to blow the game open. That was their only victory against the Dragons last season. Petrantonio from the outside, fired it around off the back glass. Freeborn picks it up on the other side, starts a rush. Got it towards Connor Foley, slipped past him though, and Nolan Slahetka rims it up towards Petrantonio. Pass across, knocked back by Deck. It kicks around, and Federley comes back for it in his own end. Freeborn trying to settle down the bouncing puck. Finds DeCumbus. Tried to feed it back towards the middle of the ice. Ends up on Justin McDonald's tape. Soft dump in, and after it is Sequoia Swan, number 21. Schumacher took the body. DeCumbus took the puck. And now Vaughn will get a dump in. Moore looks to work it out. Puck kept away from McDonald. Good stick by Schumacher. Delayed off sides as the Dragons touch up. Schumacher over to the near side. Johnson lets it go through. And DeCumbus chips it in around Underwood. Swan first on it. Rimmed around, got past its intended target. Bartlett hustles on it. Ross Bartlett couldn't get a shot away. Couple stick moves. The pass comes out in front. Moore right on top of it. He'll softly bounce it back to Prowler ice. 12.5 to go in the opening period. Shot 6-3 right now in favor of Columbus. As Balkwell plays it up the board. Scantlebury to the point. Parsons. Brister through traffic, deflected off a stick and out of play. So we'll get a whistle and a face-off down in William Lavaliere's territory. In case you missed the start of this game, Lavaliere began the season with Baton Rouge before he was traded here to Columbus. He is 3-1, but hasn't seen a lot of rubber. A .328 goals against average would seem to imply a better than .875 save percentage as a Dragon in 4 games, but you don't see a lot of pucks playing behind this Columbus team. Parsons able to keep it away from the oncoming Shinkarik. And it's bounced to Layden, turning on Scantlebury, who tries to lift his stick, able to feather it through for Bartlett. Has help going towards the net. Wraparound try was stopped. They tried to put it back on net from the goal line. Bartlett comes out with it across. Jay! Stopped by Lavaliere, sliding across. Good forecheck from this line for the Prowlers. Storjahan able to get it out. Scantleberry turns it back to Dragons territory. Layden quickly to Storjahan. Enters the Prowlers end. Shot too tall. Now Bersani back towards the net. He missed wide. And coming in to keep it alive was Brody Duncan. Shot from the outside off the stick of Storjahan, handled by Wallace. And he'll freeze play. First I've seen of Duncan so far tonight. Part of a very deep River Dragons defense core. He's only played 16 games so far this season after beginning the year with Peoria, where he played 28 games before coming back to the FPHL. Connor Foley able to kick it out. Has Freeborn with him. Now Freeborn to the net, taken down. And he slides into Lavaliere. Play still going, but Freeborn stuck right in the goal crease, so they'll blow it dead. As Freeborn went to head to the net, ended up getting tripped up a little bit. But the arm stayed down and will continue to play 5-on-5. It will be an offensive zone face-off coming for the Prowlers. They send out Ross Bartlett's line to draw against Alexander Jemayev. Off this face-off comes to Slaheka. Goes up the strong side, bounce to the middle of the ice, and Schumacher dumps it back in. Slaheka to Petrantonio. At the right wing side, gets in, shot blocked by Schumacher, then sent it all the way to the middle of the ice. And Jemayev couldn't direct it into the awning cage. Jemayev centering feed off of Deck's stick. And right to Scantleberry. He'll get it out. Duncan looks to turn it right back up. Gets in, shot blocked. Duncan back towards the front of the net. And a kick saved by Wallace to keep that from getting to the back door. Scantleberry with a steal at center. Couldn't dangle past his number 17 opposite, though, Austin Doe. And Johnson regroups. They'll head up ice with speed. Alex Johnson slips past a check. Gets to the corner. Couldn't do much with it, though. He rims it around, and it's lofted out. McDonald has more going towards the net. Tried to slip it that way. Ends up right on Wallace, who will clamp the glove on top for another whistle and another face-off. We'll take a break. No score, 9:42 to go in the Munger Physical Therapy first period. You're watching Port Huron Prowlers Hockey on the PHP Network. Past the midway point of period one. Shots on goal, 8-4 in favor of Columbus. We're still searching for the first strike. As faceoff will be to Ian Wallace's left, deep in Dragons offensive territory. Bit of a mixed line out there right now for the Prowlers. Chartrand DeCumbus and Connor Foley, not Evan Foley. It was the typical center with those two wingers. Chartrand chips it in. After it is DeCumbus along with Underwood. Sent over the near side. Moore skates into it, finds McDonald. Over, gives a pass back across. McDonald whiffed on it on the back side. They try to center back out in front. Some pretty passing there from the Dragons' top line. And Justin McDonald whiffed. There's a penalty being called behind the play as Moore went down. He was tangled up with Johnson. Hunter back in. He and Johnson go down. Pass across towards McDonald. Cut off by Evan Foley. But a trip called against Alex Johnson. And the first power play of the weekend goes to Columbus. It's the third ranked power play in the FPHL at 27.3%. They were 2 for 8 last weekend against Motor City. Prowlers, still the last ranked PK in the league, 74.1%. Went 7 for 8 last weekend against Elmira. 20 for their last 21 on the PK are the Prowlers. Doe to the net. He couldn't find a friendly stick. Comes around to Petrantonio. It's Doe, Storjahan, Petrantonio, Moore, and McDonald is up at the blue line. 5 forwards. McDonald to the net. Off the back wall. Doe tried to put it back in off the carom. It bounces around and ends up on the boards. McDonald working his way down deep. Behind the net to Moore. Back to McDonald. Out high it comes to Petrantonio. Doe walks, gives back to Petrantonio, hopped over his stick, Moore backing him up. Federley came in to challenge, and the clearing attempt knocked down. Chartrand skates into it, makes a move, sent it on net. It's gloved by Lavaliere. Minute 10 to go on the Dragons' power play as Storjahan works his way in. Dragons in the midst of a change. The Prowlers were, excuse me, as Parsons able to take that one away and dump it out. Now the Dragons will switch up the unit. Comes up to Shinkarik, fresh off the bench, got past him. Jamaev bounces it back to him. Jamaev now on the left wing. Working on Schumacher. He pulls up, rims it around. Hunter on it. Now Shinkarik, wristed towards the net, deflected and saved by Wallace. Comes to Slahetka. Wickline set up in front. Rister comes there, bounces down. Parsons finds it and clears. 15 seconds to go on the penalty to Alex Johnson as Slahetka comes back in, but offside. Wickline ahead of the play. The Prowlers with their top defenseman in the box. Good job so far. Dragons have 2 shots on goal, 11 seconds left on their man advantage. He had 2 shots on the man advantage. They're up 10-5 for the game in shots on net. As Bersani set to draw with Evan Foley. And now Bersani is being asked to leave. Storjahan will take the face off. And Evan Foley beats him. Heinzel able to kick it out. Dumped right back around. Austin Federley behind his own net. Fanned on the clearing attempt. Johnson steps out of the box. So the Dragons 0 for 1 on the man advantage so far. Here is Johnson. Turning it on to Jay. 2 Dragons back. Jay takes the outside route. Tried to go all the way around the net. And left it below the goal line. His team in the midst of a change. Shinkarik forced back behind his cage. Bersani. Challenged there by Freeborn. They dig away in front of the River Dragons bench. Layton to Shinkarik. Tapped across for Storjahan. Schumacher cut off that pass at the red line. Sim tried a backhand feed across. Freeborn is in. Dragons wanted an offsides call, but they say it's onside. Sim cycles it deep. Shinkarik takes it, but is passed to Layton out of his reach. Connor Foley walks up high, gives over to Parsons. Rister across, looking for Freeborn. That was knocked away. Storjahan on to Swan. Off his skates, and the Prowlers move the other direction. Pops through for Connor Foley, looking towards Skittleberry, and he couldn't touch it towards the net. Johnson up to Scantleberry, turning the corner on Duncan. He falls down. He and Slahetka now tied up. Jay in there looking for the puck, and ends up on Duncan's stick. Fires it off the window all the way down. That will be an icing against the River Dragons with 5:20 left in period 1. And an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty being signaled. And it's Tucker Scantleberry going to the box. Prowlers want an explanation as Austin Federley chatting with referee Steve Gowdy right now. Gowdy out there with Jonathan Paradise, Mark Jackson, and David Fleming. The linesman, excuse me. Those are your officials tonight. So the Dragons, after icing the puck, will get an offensive zone face-off. Don't see that too often. But their second chance on the man advantage of the period. They're 0 for 1 so far. They had 2 shots on the first opportunity. Petrantonio right on goal. And it's stopped by Wallace. He hangs on. True balance penalty kill out there for the second time for the Prowlers. Off the draw, Johnson tries to work it up the the far side wall, and Foley dumps it down. Doe leaves it behind the net. Petrantonio skates into it. On for more. Enters offensive territory. Tries to go to the backside. McDonald couldn't get a clean touch on it and fired it all the way through the crease. Storjahan just does keep it in. Comes over to Doe. Forced back by Federley. Doe to Moore to the forehand, and he slips it home. Kyle Moore, backhand forehand, slipping in front of the net. Power play goal for the Dragons, and they strike first. #22nd of the year for Moore. He extends his point streak to 9 games. He's also on a 6-game assist streak coming into this game. Having a successful first full FPHL season. He split last season between the Dragons and the Fayetteville Marksmen of the SPHL. And he's found a home along with Justin McDonald on that top line. And he gets the Dragons on the board first. We'll take a break. 4:21 to go in period 1. You're watching Port Huron Prowlers hockey on the PHP Network.
At Hungry Howie's, we're famous for flavor, and this is our Chief Flavor Officer. Every hour of every day, our CFO obsesses over the tastiest ingredients, combining them to create new flavor combinations your taste buds never knew they needed, until now. Introducing his latest master pizza, the Pepperoni Duo. A delicious combination of classic cut pepperoni, original pepperoni, 100% mozzarella cheese, and our famous flavored crust. 2 kinds of pepperoni, all kinds of delicious.
Hungry?
Howie's! 1-0 River Dragons, 4:21 to go in period 1. Austin Doe picking up the only assist on the goal by Kyle Moore. That's his 38th helper of the season and 215th of his FPHL career. The former Port Huron Prowler in his age 30 season, looking to get himself a championship with these River Dragons. Top team in the FPHL right now as far as points go. The only team to 40 wins as of now. And first team in FPHL history to have 3 straight 100-point seasons. Sent across, Swan couldn't handle it. Here's Vaughn trying to pull it to his forehand, couldn't do so. And Parsons sent it up to Bartlett, who touches it in. Underwood takes a check from Vaughn. Comes around behind the cage. Balkwell. And it bounces out to Johnson. After the long lead pass wasn't perfect for Swan. Scantleberry turns around Swan. Now he's into offensive territory. His pass, though, right on Wickline's tape. Underwood looks to get it out. He's forced back. And Balkwell returns it to him behind the net. Underwood spun to the ground. Jamayev takes the puck. Wickline, long feed looking for Swan. And icing called against the Dragons as that pass missed everyone. So, Prowlers with an offensive zone face-off. 3:14 left in the opening period. Face-off will be to Lavaliere's right. Tristan Sim taking a shift on Ross Bartlett's line. Again, Prowlers playing with 11 forwards and 5 defensemen here tonight. No Paul Arnott, no Mitch Jones in the lineup. As Balkwell leaves it for Jamayev. Bounced off the wall, comes to Swan. He dumps it in, and now the Dragons get the change they were looking for right before the icing. Bartlett on for Sim, 2-on-2 rush as they hit the line. Tried to float it towards the net, but a good block from Layton. But now he turns it over. Bartlett a chance. Stopped by Lavaliere, he left a rebound. Sim sends it down deep to Bartlett. Scantleberry lost an edge. And Petrantonio sends Layton on his way. They'll dump it behind the net. Heinzel claps it off the boards. And now a 2-on-1 for the Prowlers if they hurry, but Jamayev comes back to even it up. Shot by Scantleberry, stopped by Lavaliere. Battle along the board, slips to Prowler ice. Schumacher, quick up towards Connor Foley, who deflects it in. Duncan, dangerous pass up the middle of the ice, almost picked off. Now the Prowlers come back in with it. The pass to Connor Foley was blocked up by Duncan. Schumacher to Vaughn, gets in, absorbs a check. And now Moore looking to loft it out. Johnson gloves it down before it can get to Hunter, who is sprinting up the right wing. Now McDonald to Hunter now. 4 Prowlers back as the outside shot. Kick save by Wallace. Vaughn able to find Freeborn, touches it past Duncan, but Hunter first on it in his own end. Moore looks up ice. Lead pass towards Hunter, out of his reach, and another icing. As the faceoff will come down once more with 1:17 to go in the opening period. Dragons up on shots right now, 13-7. Prowlers have had a few opportunities. Haven't tested Lavaliere all too much. McDonald and Evan Foley in on this faceoff. Johnson rims it around behind the net. It's Foley. Evan Foley centering feed, knocked away. Johnson again at the line. He'll rim it behind the net, up the dasher. Slaheka cuts that puck off behind the net, but then Chartrain gets a stick on it. Schumacher on the backhand towards the net, blocked away by traffic. McDonald one-hands it up to Hunter. 47 seconds to go in period 1. Ryan Hunter with a rink-wide feed finds Slaheka. Prowlers surround him. Johnson takes him into the corner boards. And Schumacher ends up with the puck. Looking for DeCumbus, he has him. Bounced up, Chartrand couldn't move it along. Now he gets it in. 22 seconds left in period one. Bersani's pass off of Storjahan's stick. But then Bartlett blown up at the blue line as he tried to carry the puck in. Here comes Wickline, but the Dragons offsides with 10.5 seconds to go in the opening frame. Brody Duncan stepping up the physicality with a big hit. Open ice hit on Ross Bartlett as he tried to enter the offensive zone. Puck still in neutral ice as he gets set for this faceoff. Connor Foley wins it back. Schumacher retreats. He lofts it down. And that will be icing, but the time ticks down just before, so that's going to do it. For the opening 20 minutes here at McMorran Place, the River Dragons have the only goal, and it's off the stick of Kyle Moore. And the Dragons with the 1-0 lead. Shots on goal in that period, 13 for Columbus, 7 for the Port Huron Prowlers. And the power play goal by Moore, the only marker to this point. Coming up in the first intermission report, take a look at some highlights against the Elmira River Sharks from last weekend. Prowlers with a couple of victories in the shootout. We'll relive all that. We'll also take a look at some storylines around the FPHL, including expansion in the league announced earlier today. We will get to all that coming up in the first intermission report right here on the PHP Network. Well, the Prowlers have clinched their spot in the Commissioner's Cup playoffs, so get something new to cheer them to a championship. The store features lace-up sweatshirts, mitt stalls, team issue apparel, and more with playoff merch in now. Come find us on the west end of McMorran Arena at every home game or online anytime at prowlersmerch.com. You can scan the QR code on your screen now to visit the online shop. Look your po-ho best with gear from the Prowlers team store. Dragons with the only goal in the opening 20 off the stick of Kyle Moore. They have a 1-0 lead. We'll take a break. You're watching Port Huron Prowlers hockey on the PHP Network.
I've worked at Pioneer and now Corteva for 36 years. It goes by very quickly.
This is a pretty noble profession where you're giving back to humanity.
Curiosity is so important. I learn something new every day.
What's that next challenge that may occur for farmers? You do really feel like you've got an impact on what's coming.
I can see how we're making things better.
And we have the best solutions for our farmers. And I think we're here to feed and fuel the world. I'm proud to be part of that culture, and I'm proud to be part of the company.
At Hungry Howie's, we're famous for flavor, and this is our Chief Flavor Officer. Every hour of every day, our CFO obsesses over the tastiest ingredients, combining them to create new flavor combinations your taste buds never knew they needed. Until now. Introducing his latest master pizza, the Pepperoni Duo. A delicious combination of classic cut pepperoni, original pepperoni, 100% mozzarella cheese, and our famous flavored crust. 2 kinds of pepperoni, all kinds of delicious.
Hungry?
Howie's!
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
They're seriously not even that much better than you.
Should've just got a ticket from phprowlers.com.
I should have just bought tickets at phprowlers.com.
I got it!
I should have just got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
I should have got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
They should have just got tickets
at phprowlers.com. Plays it down low towards Bartlett. Back to Scantlebury. Minute 20 left to go on the power play. Freeborn toe drag shot. Score! It caromed to Ross Bartlett on the back door. Prowlers have a power play goal, and they're on the board. Gaeta tried to play it across the blue line. Broken up by Connor Foley. Gaeta shoved down by Foley. He gets to Freeborn. Are not going towards the net. Connor Foley, a shot. He scores! Connor Foley with his 5th of the year, and the Prowlers have tied things up. Prowlers wanted too many men on the ice call as it looked like it hit Powell, who's heading towards the bench. Here's Klink with a step, stopped by Wallace. Rebound also stopped with Klink right on top of him. Look towards the net, now looks back at Yarwood and gives it there. Pickford, centering feed, kick save by Wallace, in the splits on Newman, and the Prowlers clear. He walks the blue line over to DeCumbus. Now back to Federley. In front, Sim. Score! It bounced right back to Tristan Sim. Another power play goal for the Prowlers, and they tied it up at 3. Here's Federley. Connor Foley couldn't connect, and now Klink sends it along. A breakaway for Gaeta. He stumbles, gets back up, and he's stoned by Ian Wallace. He has a goal tonight. Can he put the Prowlers ahead in the shootout? Coming straight in on Bernard to the back end. Oh, what a play! The Forsberg from Connor Foley. And the Prowlers strike first in the shootout. And we move to round number 3. And Stephen Klink, who has 2 tonight, must score to keep the shootout alive. Klink on Wallace. Klink works in, backhand, stopped by Ian Wallace, and the Prowlers win it in the shootout. Gets into offensive territory, heading towards the net. Outside try, kicked out by Wallace, and Parsons rescues the rebound, but he had his stick lifted. Couple of tries from the side of the net. It's still loose. Wallace stretching out, 2 and 3 saves. He finally gets the glove on top to cover. And there they go. Oh, Poppy is going to beat Maple. So the crown stays in the J family, but it is Poppy who beats Maple and takes the crown and some bragging rights back home for Poppy. Surely the Prowlers will look for a quick change off this faceoff. They can get the puck. Oh, it's sent in, and now they score! Bartlett on the rebound, and he finally breaks the ice. They battle for it behind the net. Sim comes out with it, centering feed. Foley scores! Evan Foley took his time, catch and shoot. Prowlers back in front. Gives back to Pickford. Winds, fakes, Yarwood a shot, and the one-timer stopped by Ian Wallace. As it hopped over his stick, Powell out to Pickford. Yarwood, kick save by Ian Wallace on the one-timer. And now Connor Foley. Scored last night in the shootout to open it. He's up in the bottom of the first. Foley in with speed, he scores! Kyle Powell, the next shooter. He comes in, the veteran, and he's stopped by Wallace as he tried to go 5-hole. In the bottom of round 3, this time it's Dalton Jay's turn with the game on his stick. His dog won the dog race. Can he win the game? Score! And the Prowlers win! Welcome back here to McMorran Place. First intermission rolling on, and the Dragons have a 1-0 lead. Will Wiggleman back with you on the PHP Network. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. The first of a 3-3 for both of these teams, but they'll see different opponents tomorrow night before reconvening here at McMorran Place again on Saturday. But before we talk about that opening period, let's take a look around the FPHL. Only one other game going on in the league tonight. And it drops the puck in about 10 minutes as the Mississippi Seawolves can clinch a playoff spot with a 3-point victory. That's a regulation victory over the Baton Rouge Zydeco. Joe Shepard is going for Mississippi. John Moriarty, the starter for Baton Rouge, as the magic number for the Seawolves is 3, so before the end of tonight, we could see all 4 spots in the Continental Division locked up. Again, that game dropping the puck in just about 10 minutes from now. We'll be dropping the puck on the second period before that one begins, but we'll keep you updated on that score throughout the broadcast. Let's take a look at some storylines around the FPHL. And the big one today, the announcement that the league is expanding to Athens, Georgia. And a big one for River Dragons fans is just as the Prowlers have the Motor City Rockers and the Watertown Wolves, Elmira River Sharks, and Binghamton Black Bears all have each other close by. Now, the Columbus River Dragons will have themselves an in-state rival in Athens, Georgia, announced today in a press conference at what will be their home arena. FPHL Commissioner Don Kernan was on hand for that. So, a new addition to likely the Continental Division, and then also reports that Danville will likely be coming into the league next season, and maybe another one beyond that, we'll see. But the possibility of the Prowlers moving over to the Empire Division to join their Michigan brethren, it's certainly on the table with another Southern team being added. I mean, the most ideal way I would see it if Danville and Athens are coming in. You could put Athens in the Continental, move the Prowlers over to the Empire, add Danville to the Empire, and then instead of the Continental having one extra team, the Empire will have one extra team, but it will still be uneven. as that would move it from 11 teams to 13 teams in the league. Of course, assuming that all 11 teams in the league right now will be playing next season. But very exciting things and more long bus trips for the Prowlers coming up in their future as the league continues to expand in the South. The Baton Rouge Zydeco, speaking of the South, released Austin Weber this week. 26 points in 32 games, an original member of the Zydeco, had the first hat trick and the first overtime goal in Zydeco history after being selected in the Delaware Dispersal Draft. But he is no longer a member of the Zydeco, but he could be picked up by a team and be eligible for playoffs. We'll see if that happens or not. Another release that's of note to the Prowlers because it's the team that they are playing tomorrow is that the Binghamton Black Bears have released Mac Lewis. He spent most of this season in the SPHL, but had 1 assist in 8 games so far in the FPHL. But again, not much time spent here, and certainly Binghamton has every reason to be happy with who they have currently on the roster as they lead the Empire Division. Had a bit of a stumble last weekend against Watertown, but still a very strong contender and the favorite to come out of the Empire Division. Let's take a look at this game so far. Not too much going on in that opening period as both teams were relatively disciplined. Prowlers with 4 penalty minutes, a tripping penalty, and an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. And the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty actually cost them as the Dragons got the power play goal from Kyle Moore. So they're 1 for 2 on the man advantage. But for the Prowlers, they kept the game close, which for a lot of teams, that's what you need to do against the Columbus River Dragons. Keep it close and maybe find a way to frustrate them a little bit, and then you can get your opportunities. Prowlers were outshot nearly 2-1. Dragons 1 shot away from that, but we'll see if Port Huron can generate a little more here in the second period as both teams are gathering in the tunnels, set to come out in just a couple of minutes. But again, this is a big weekend for Port Huron, a measuring stick type of weekend. I've been talking about it with the coaching staff a little bit, coming up to this weekend and even before this week. They had this weekend circled on the calendar as a real test to find out exactly where they stand, as they've spent most of the season either playing the Motor City Rockers or teams below them in the standings. I'm talking Elmira, Watertown, Blue Ridge, and Baton Rouge, and Mississippi. So this is the real test against the top 2 teams in the league, and so far they're trailing 1-0 and looking to find themselves an equalizer when period 2 begins. As the Dragons step back out onto the ice, we take a look at our PHP Network trivia question. It's about Justin McDonald, who leads the FPHO with 106 points. He's on a 37-game point streak, which is which is the longest in the FPHL, unverified. I talked to Tom Callahan, the Columbus broadcaster, see how they exactly determined that, and he said he just talked to everyone in the league office and they couldn't remember one that was longer than 20. However, Dalton J had a 22-game point streak last year, so that certainly puts a little bit of, take it with a grain of salt, I guess I should say. So the unverified league record, 37 straight, but impressive nonetheless. We want to know what the longest point streak by a Prowler was last year, and I may have just given it away. Put your guess in the comments section if you were paying attention. Oopsie. I just gave it away. But anyway, we'll get back to hockey. William Lavaliere in the goal crease to our right. 7 saves on 7 Prowler shots in the opening 20. Ian Wallace, goal crease to our left. 12 saves on 13 Dragons shots. As we are set to go here for period number 2. Evan Foley and Justin McDonald in the face-off circle. Steve Gowdy to drop the puck between them. And period 2 is underway as Ryan Hunter starts the first offensive chance, and he fires it right into the glove of Wallace for our first whistle, 7 seconds into period 2. Foley and McDonald again to Wallace's right. It's batted around. Centering feed by Moore, caught up by Foley. And now Vaughn able to touch that one in. DeCumbus had his stick lifted behind the net. McDonald fires it over to the near side. Hunter picks it up, he shoots, and he's stopped by Wallace. The rebound knocked away. And Schumacher able to find it, harassed. They try and chip it out, batted back towards the net. And now Johnson backhands it along towards the Columbus. He couldn't skate it out. And Johnson just backhands it off a stick into the Columbus bench. The Prowlers struggle to get out of their own end, but they will get a face-off at center. Federley over to Heinzel. Looks like Austin Federley has dropped back to defense, at least for a bit. Known to play both, and of course the Prowlers only dressing 5 defensemen in this game. As Connor Foley bounces it in, Shinkarik rims it around. Tristan Sim taking Federley's spot on this top line for this shift. Now Connor Foley in front, Freeborn kicked away by Lavaliere. Federley knocks it down at the blue line. And Wallace catches it. He'll leave it behind the cage for Federley. Sim tips it along, but that will be icing. And the Prowlers in need of a change. We'll see the faceoff come all the way down in their own end. As the defensemen were already heading that direction, Federley and Heinzel. Hunter Bersani's line steps out there for Columbus for this offensive zone draw. Puck is dropped. Slaheka to Storjahan, tried to turn it on net. Slaheka just kept it in. Back pass towards the back door. Good play by Federley to block it with the stick, and finally it's touched by the Dragons, and it was knocked down with a high stick. That's why Freeborn wouldn't touch it. The Prowlers will get an offensive zone face-off. Actually, it'll just be outside of the Prowlers zone. Ross Bartlett and Brody Duncan seem to think it was all the way down. They'll return to where they need to be for this draw. Bersani able to dump it in. Braden Deck pulls up, goes back up the strong side with the puck, but Storjahan takes it away. Slaheka on the backhand, steered aside by Wallace. In the corner, Wickline, diving play by Bartlett to knock it off his stick. Now Storjahan, knocked away, comes over to the far side. Pops up in the air, lands still in play. Bartlett up the boards towards Scantleberry. Coming back for it was Hunter. And now Duncan with a dangle, taken by Jay, but his pass to Bartlett, they got their signals crossed. as Jay tried to send Bartlett in on a breakaway, but Bartlett stayed wide. Jay thought Bartlett was going to go to the middle. So the faceoff comes all the way down off the icing. And McDonald's line for this offensive zone draw for Columbus. Scantlebury will take it against J-Mac. They're checking Parsons and Hunter lined up in the middle. McDonald able to win it back clean, but Moore couldn't keep it in. He did take it away from Bartlett, who tried to send Jay on his way. Deck off the boards. Dangerously in front of his own bench as Bartlett was in the midst of a change. That puck skied in the air, out of play as it was deflected up near the Prowler blue line. Just over 3 minutes gone in period 2. Face-off just outside of Prowler territory. And now Scantlebury heading to the locker room, unaccompanied by Prowler's trainer Bridget Smith, so maybe equipment related. We'll keep an eye on that as Johnson works behind the net. Evan Foley tried to tip it along, turned back. Here's Foley, reversing to Johnson. Hangs out behind his own net, collapsed on by 2 Dragons. He finds Foley with an outlet to Cumbus. Bounces it off the board. Chartrand tried to center. And now Columbus looks to work out. McDonald pulls up over to Hunter. His shot blocked by Alex Johnson. Hunter tried to get back on it. Schumacher turns the corner. Off the boards up to Chartrand. As Cumbus, or Connor Foley with him. Chartrand takes the shot. And that's stopped by Lavalier, but it knocked the stick out of his hands. He'll be able to get it back as Doe works it to the outside to Moore. Backdoor feed looking for McDonald. Passes in his skates. And now the Prowlers with a 2-on-2 rush. Chartrand pulls up at the line. Sent a floater past the cage. Connor Foley tried to put it back in front. Puck was bouncing and hopping off the back wall. And Lavalier clamps the glove on top. .15:49 left to go in period 2. As Connor Foley gets set to draw with Jemayev. Comes to Freeborn, quick shot right into the chest of Lavalier. So he'll do it again from the same spot. Prowler's leading goal scorer. And now leader in assists as well, Liam Freeborn. 22 goals, 33 assists, 55 points. All team highs this season. Connor Foley able to win this one again. It's rimmed around. Freeborn behind the net. Centering feed. Bounces in the air. Sim looking for it, but Jemayev rescues it. Now Jemayev over to Doe. Good poke by Federley. And Connor Foley can skate up with it. Takes a long-range shot that's blockered by Lavalier. And they blow it dead. I didn't see what happened. Not sure why this puck is being blown dead. Maybe it hit the netting after Lavalier made the save. That's the only thing I can think of. Likely hit the protective netting behind Lavalier after he made the blocker save. So offensive zone face-off for the Prowlers. As Petrantonio gets set to draw with Bartlett. It's tied up. Petrantonio moves out. Comes over to the near side. Federley backs up with it. Kept it away from Doe. Shinkarik gave it away to Bartlett. Vaughn stretches to stay on side. Bartlett across to Heinzel. Shinkarik behind the net. Trying to pass towards Doe. That floated past him. Goes all the way down and will just have enough legs for icing. So another offensive zone faceoff coming for the Prowlers. When we come back, No goals yet in this second period. Still 1-0 Columbus. You're watching Port Huron Prowlers hockey on the PHP Network.
I'm proud to serve farmers because everything they do matters.
If I could choose one word to describe a farmer, I would say essential.
Dedicated.
Enterprising.
The most creative people.
They're providing food for the rest of the world.
Some of the qualities I look for when hiring is personality, perseverance, someone that's determined. We want to be able to hire someone that understands what we're supporting, and ultimately that's the grower.
Come fill McMorran Place at every Prowlers home game this season. General admission tickets are just $15 with discounts available for seniors, military, students, and children under 12. Upgrade your experience in one of our suites, or bring the whole squad to the game with discounts for groups of 10 or more. Find your best option to visit the Thumb Coats professional hockey team by visiting phprowlers.com and find the tickets tab, or call the box office at 810-985-6166. Secure your seats today. 5:07 gone in the Hungry Howie's second period. Dragons up on shots 6-5 in the frame, but the Prowlers had the last four. They've gotten a little bit of pressure over this last minute or two. Lavaliere's made a couple of saves. They'll get the offensive zone faceoff. They have the top line out there of Freeborn, Connor Foley, and Tristan Sim. Petrantonio set to draw with Connor Foley, and Foley wins it back. Parsons to the net, blocked as it hit Layden on the way through. Kept in by Port Huron for a moment, and the pass by Jemayev kicks off a skate. Backdoor feed towards Freeborn, had a little trouble handling it. And it comes to Lavaliere after Freeborn could just get a backhander off. They'll freeze it, and the Dragons will make a change. But another good play by the Prowlers to keep the puck in, and then Jemayev's pass kicked off his own man's skate. That's a way to beat the Dragons, keep them in their own end. Another good face-off win from Connor Foley. There's Sim cycling it. Foley and Wickline after it. Freeborn tried to come out in front. Duncan got stick on puck. But this pass all the way down again. And an icing against Columbus. Prowlers continue the offensive zone play. This time it's the Bartlett line out there for the Prowlers for this face-off. He'll take it with Wickline. Wickline wins it back. Slaheka, his pass up, blocked by Vaughn, who's hustling after him. And now it's Slaheka's turn to ice the puck. I guess at this point, if you ice the puck enough times, you get the same amount of rest as if you were sitting on the bench waiting for your next shift. Dalton Jay will slot in for this face-off against Wickline. And the wingers on the wall, Duncan and Bartlett, told to move back. Comes right there where Duncan plays it to Slaheka. Back to Brody Duncan. And now Wickline bounces it off the boards and out. First clean exit for the Dragons in a few tries. Federley looks to dump it out. Slaheka came up high as he tried to keep that puck alive. The stick came up on Jake Vaughn, and that's tough to do. Vaughn standing at 6'5", 225 pounds. But it's enough to draw the penalty, and the Prowlers will go to the man advantage for the first time. The quality power play is 5th in the FPHL at 21.9%. Went 2 for 8 last weekend against Motor City. Well, the Dragons PK tops in the league, 7 for 8 last weekend against the Rockers, 85.4% for the season. And Tucker Scantleberry has returned from the Prowlers dressing room He's out there right now with his power play unit. Freeborn walks in, try to pass down low, as Bartlett was standing at the top of the crease. Bartlett, Johnson, Freeborn, Scantlebury, and Connor Foley on this power play unit as it's dumped down. Johnson up to Scantlebury towards Freeborn. That's taken away at center by Bersani. Johnson runs him into the wall. Puck stuck in there. 3 Prowlers, 2 Dragons digging away. It's all kinds of time being ticked off the clock by Bersani, and now McDonald couldn't get it on net. 4 Prowlers trying to get that puck away from the 2 Dragons killers, and finally Scantlebury pulls it out. There's only 1:05 left to go on the man advantage. Balkwell and Scantlebury come together. Scantlebury trying to dig it out. Connor Foley finds some space in the corner, and finally the Prowlers able to set back up. Here is Foley. Try to work it back to Freeborn off a stick. Prowlers keep it alive. Scantlebury to the point to Federley. 35 to go on the man advantage. He walks the line, gives to Freeborn. Try to give it back, and that pass taken away. Swan on a 2-on-1 with Doe. Swan tried to feed it over, and Federley got his stick in the lane. Wallace covers up. And a defensive zone faceoff for Port Huron on a power play that is spent most of the time with the puck locked up against the wall by the River Dragons penalty killers. And that must be what makes this Dragons PK so good, is their ability to just waste time and hold the puck. Evan Foley out there for this face-off. He wins it back. His unit includes Federley, Jay, Sim, and Decumbus. They have 15 seconds to work before Slaheka is set to step out of the box. Here's Decumbus playing it to the near side to Sim. Back down to Decumbus, centering feed, bounces in front. Jay towards the net. Now Sim flies in for it. Power play is over. Federley's shot blocked. He's able to recollect. And now Wickline in offensive territory. Good diving play by Sim to keep it away from Storjahan on the backside. The Prowlers work back in. Backhander, kick save by Lavaliere, as Decumbus just swatted at that bouncing puck and he got a good shot off. Pass to Storjahan, backhander, he scores. And a well-worked 3-on-2 from the Dragons makes it 2-0 just seconds after they kill off the Prowler power play. And Alex Storjahan has extended his point streak to 5 with goal number 22 on the season. And the Prowlers had some opportunities, couldn't beat the bouncing puck. And then Wickline to Storjahan behind the defense. Dragons double their lead with 11:19 to go here in period 2. McDonald trying to recollect that puck. Plays it off the boards. Bartlett steals it away. Then he gives it right back to Columbus. McDonald skates up with it. Knocked off his stick. Chartrand tried to move it further. Now Underwood keeping it away from the oncoming Scantlebury. McDonald works into offensive territory. Gives it to Moore on the outside. And a kick saved by Wallace. He'll dive back out to try and get that puck. Successfully able to cover up for a whistle. And the crowd gathering to the goal crease. To the left of the goal crease. Occupied by Ian Wallace. A little fight, fight, fight chant from one of the kids here in the crowd down near me. As Alexander Jamaev's flying out there now for the Dragons. He'll draw against Connor Foley. And Foley wins it back, but they'll do it again, and Connor Foley won't be allowed to take it. Tristan Sim will get it on the draw instead. Jamaev wins it. Layden at the point. He whiffed on the shot. Turnaround try by Petrantonio. Blocked up by Federley. Petrantonio towards the back door. Ends up in the far side corner. Layton from the top. Blocker save by Wallace. And now the Prowlers are going to go to the man advantage. Delayed penalty. Here's Connor Foley to the net. Stuff attempt stopped by Lavaliere. And a tripping penalty being signaled. Looks like it's against the River Dragons captain, Josh Petrantonio, as Austin Federley went down on his way to the net. And now looks like one of the linesmen wants to talk about giving Petrantonio a little extra. Second quality power play of the game for the Prowlers, as Petrantonio was arguing his case. And it looks like as Petrantonio is going to the net, his leg took out Austin Federley's legs. And that is the reason for the whistle and the penalty. And now Josh Petrantonio will be escorted to the locker room because there are fewer than 12 minutes left in the period, so he'll come back out for the third to serve the rest of his 12 minutes because it looks like he's getting a 10-minute misconduct. They'll send Kyle Moore to go serve the 2. So if a player gets 2 minutes and 10 minutes, they have to serve all 12. So that is why Petrantonio gets the early exit to the locker room, and he'll come back for the start of period 3. So 2 to 10 to Josh Petrantonio, 2 for tripping, 10 for abuse of officials. And another Prowlers power play, again 0 for 1 so far in this game. And Connor Foley wins the faceoff to start things off. Freeborn to the slot, he gets it back across Scantleberry, catch and shoot, missed the target. Scantleberry again to Alex Johnson at the top. Wrister through traffic, couldn't find the net. Freeborn pops it out to Connor Foley. Johnson again misses high, as Johnson was walking right down Main Street. Freeborn pass off a stick. Bartlett recollects, gets it to the top to Freeborn. Johnson looking for a stick, couldn't find one. But Freeborn keeps it alive again as McDonald couldn't get it out. Poke deep. Bartlett up the wall to Freeborn. Now Johnson down low play, and Scantleberry got a tip to the net, and then he's wrestled to the ice, and Steve Gowdy has his arm in the air for another penalty. Scantleberry slow to his skates. It looks like the Prowlers will have a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 5 seconds. Brody Duncan, the one heading to the box. And a big opportunity for the Prowlers to get back in this game, trailing by 2. We'll have it for you on the other side. You're watching Port Huron Prowlers Hockey on the PHP Network. Back here at McMorran Place, 9:22 to go in the Hungry Howie's second period. A huge opportunity for the Prowlers, up 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 5 seconds. Brody Duncan, 2 minutes for high sticking, as he took Tucker Scantleberry down while Scantleberry was driving the net. And the Prowlers keep that same unit out there with Austin Federley replacing Tucker Scantleberry. After Scantleberry's a little bit shaken up, slow to his skates, got a visit from the Prowlers trainer Bridget Smith. Dragons able to bounce it out right off the draw. Federley slowly back in. Makes a move at the blue line, got it down low to Bartlett. Now Connor Foley just fired it wide. Bartlett reverses up the wall. Freeborn. Connor Foley back to Liam Freeborn. 38 to go on the two-man advantage. Johnson to Federley, across to Freeborn. Federley again, wrister off a stick and high. They dig away behind the net, comes out in front, couple of whacks. Freeborn, stopped by Lavalier, what a save. They get it back down low, puck bouncing around, chopped at by Bersani. Just slips out of the zone, 12 seconds left in the 5-on-3. And then it will be a 5-on-4 for a minute. Connor Foley drops it off, Freeborn back towards Foley, across Johnson, the one-timer, missed the net. Now it's a 5-on-4. Connor Foley in tight. That one blocked up in some traffic. Federley from the line, shot blocked by Lavalier. Out high, Federley reverses to Freeborn. Down low looking for Bartlett, taken by Bulkwell. He'll fire it all the way around and down. 25 seconds left to go in the Prowlers man advantage. They have 4 shots since Duncan took that high sticking penalty. And Chartrand to the net, deflected. And Lavalier hangs on for a whistle and a face-off. That was Evan Foley who got a stick on it. Coming through the slot. 11 seconds until Duncan is scheduled to come out of the penalty box. Some good chances for the Prowlers. Lavalier has stopped them all. He's shown that he's a quality goaltender. And the Dragons, a team that have rotated through goaltenders this year, might end up trusting him in the playoffs. Schumacher, one-timer, blocked. Dragons look to go the other way. Here's Doe driving towards the net. Schumacher keeps him to the outside. Doe able to pull it out. Centering feed, saved by Wallace on Layden, who came in by himself from the point. And a huge stop by Ian Wallace there. Backhanded in by Swan. Prowlers look to work it up the near side half wall. Chartrand, pass cut off. Swan dumps it back around. Parsons one-hands it out, and they took a hit up high. And an elbow is signaled by Steve Gowdy. Brian Parsons down and slow to his skates, still curled up as Prowlers trainer Bridget Smith hustles out to him. Sequoia Swan caught Brian Parsons up high with the elbow. Be the third power play for Port Huron, or fourth power play, excuse me, of the game. Parsons still down, back in the Prowler zone, surrounded by a few teammates. Alex Johnson having a chat with one of the referees. And now Parsons back to his skates He'll head back to the bench under his own power. Another chance for Port Huron on the man advantage. A 2-minute elbowing call to Sequoia Swan. And they send out the top unit once again. Only 4 out there right now. Prowlers need a 5th. Scantlebury typically completes this power play unit, and here he comes. As Connor Foley gets set for this face-off. He'll draw against Wickline. And he wins it back. Prowlers set up. Scantlebury down low, Bartlett. Curling on Slaheka, back to Scantlebury. Out high Johnson. Freeborn walks in, trying to make a pass. But Duncan got his stick in the lane. And now Duncan picks off a pass and fires it all the way down. Prowlers quality power play 0 for 3 so far. Weren't able to score on the lengthy 5-on-3. As Lavalier helped get that one down. Alex Johnson. Prowlers enter the zone with numbers. All the way around the net goes Johnson. His pass up high hit Wickline and caroms into the protective netting out of play. Port Huron switches up the man advantage unit. 1:08 left to go on the penalty to Sequoia Swan. Evan Foley and Hunter Bersani leading on this face-off. Bounce back to DeCumbus. Federley unloads. The one-timer is stopped by Lavalier. As DeCumbus fed it right over to him in the one-time spot. But Lavalier able to swallow the long-range try. Off this face-off, Balkwell had his stick lifted by Dalton Jay. He's able to get it up the wall. And Hunter does the rest of the job getting it down. Here's Federley. Sauces it to Jay. Bounce pass off the boards, taken by Sim. Jay to Federley, gives it back. Tried to feather it across, bounces to Evan Foley. DeCumbus to the net. And that one caromed off a stick and wide, just past Tristan Sim at the side of the post. Balkwell lofts it down. 20 seconds left on the Prowlers man advantage as Federley turned it up towards Jay. And now Hunter with a short-handed chance. Waits for help, takes the shot, blockered by Wallace, and he'll glove the second opportunity and drop it for DeCumbus. Quick up to Sim, final seconds ticking off the Prowlers power play as Jay dances his way in. Tried a back pass that ends up on the stick of Swan, fresh out of the box. The Dragons had numbers, but the pass wasn't right to Doe. Here's Jay with a cross-corner dump. He took a bump from Swan as he did it. Another successful PK for Columbus. Prowlers still with the 0 on the board. Vaughn has a comeback to him. Heinzel looking towards Connor Foley, gets it back. And Chartrand dumps it in. Layden up the half wall. Prowlers in there on the forecheck. They'll try this side. Shinkarik towards Moore. Got through him. Shinkarik bounces off the boards. Frank Schumacher chops it further, and he hits someone on the Prowlers bench, so we'll get a whistle and a face-off. 3:43 left to go in period 2. It's the Dragons 2 and the Prowlers nothing. You're watching Port Huron Prowlers hockey on the PHP Network.
At Hungry Howie's, we're famous for flavor, and this is our Chief Flavor Officer. Every hour of every day, our CFO obsesses over the tastiest ingredients, combining them to create new flavor combinations your taste buds never knew they needed. Until now. Introducing his latest master pizza, the Pepperoni Duo. A delicious combination of classic cut pepperoni, original pepperoni, 100% mozzarella cheese, and our famous flavored crust. 2 kinds of pepperoni, all kinds of delicious.
Hungry?
Howie's! Back here at McMorran Place, 3:43 left to go. In the Hungry Howie's second period, Prowlers have had their fair share of power plays, but still have been unable to solve William Lavalier. This face-off coming at the center dot. As they started the period, Evan Foley and Justin McDonald take the draw. Duncan up towards Hunter. Got through him as Johnson stepped up. Schumacher reversing for Johnson. Off the wall, Chartrand looks to work up. His line mates stop at the blue line. DeCumbis curling back. Gets it deep around for Chartrand. From his knees in front, DeCumbis! Another big save by Lavalier. Sprawling across. The puck goes out of play as Lavalier robs Vinny DeCumbis. Chartrand did all he could behind the net. From his knees, just able to slide it across. But another huge save from Lavalier, using all of that 6'2" 205 frame. As another icing here against Columbus. 3:08 to go here in period 2. Prowlers up on shots in the frame, 16-12. Certainly the power plays helping that total. Dragons still on top for the game at 25-23, and up where it matters as well, 2-0. Slahecka rims it up. Schumacher kept it alive. Kick back down the boards. Chartrand behind the net to Evan Foley, looking towards DeCumbis. Couldn't handle it cleanly, and now here comes McDonald. Looking towards Hunter, he gets in, backhander, stopped by Wallace. Evan Foley gives it to Chartrand. Bounced out. Slahecka, with the Prowlers in the midst of a change. Comes up with speed, left the puck behind. He's able to get to Moore. And now Duncan, pass cut off by Scantlebury. Waits for Connor Foley to get back on side. Scantlebury couldn't work it further as he was surrounded. Now Heinzel off the boards and out. Delayed offsides against Columbus. Not sure McDonald knows this. He was attacking. Hunter also attacking. Meanwhile, it's Freeborn dancing in. Gives it to Connor Foley, and a glove save by Lavalier. Nice little dipsy doodle from Liam Freeborn, and Connor Foley with an untight chance. But William Lavalier comes up with another save, his 24th of the evening. Quick shot by Freeborn off the faceoff. And another pad save by Lavalier. Now Freeborn turns it out. Scantlebury hustles into it. Cycles it deep. Freeborn working on Underwood. The centering feed found Storjahan. And Bersani dumps it in as he took a hip check from Adam Heinzel. And Ian Wallace able to hang on for a whistle and a face-off with 91 seconds up on the clock here in period 2. Tied up off this face-off. Heinzel sprints in for it, and he leaves it for Federley. Bartlett Try to pass up to Sim. Heinzel backs it up. Here comes Bartlett. Lost an edge. And it's dumped back out. Federley reverses it up. Comes right back to him. He'll chase it in the corner. Bartlett dangles his way in, tries to split the D, but it's knocked off his stick. Bersani fired it out from the wall. Schumacher dumps it in. Rimmed around by Buckwell. Johnson off the backboards, came out in front and rescued by Balkwell. Now pass in front, kicked off of Foley, and then Evan Foley back towards the net. Underwood blocked it with his stick, which knocked it out of his hands. 30 seconds to go in period 2. A quick up, Balkwell took it away. Evan Foley in on the forecheck, so is DeCumbus. They look to turn the puck over. Bersani able to chop it down, and an icing called against the Dragons with 13.1 left to go on the clock here in period 2. And we'll see if the Prowlers can get something going on this offensive zone faceoff. They've been able to harass the Columbus defensemen at different points in this game. Cause some turnovers, get some extended offensive zone time. William Lavaliere keeping the score what it is. Prowlers certainly could have had at least 1 or 2 in this period. Face off, one back by the Dragons. It's rimmed around. Johnson couldn't keep it in. He's harassed by Swan. Able to keep Swan from moving into offensive territory, and that's going to do it for the second period. Johnson gave Jamaev a little whack. That draws a crowd. And now everybody getting involved. Scantleberry wrestling with Swan. Their gloves and helmets off, but the linesmen aren't going to let them go. Still plenty of barking, and now Johnson and Lavaliere having a conversation. Lavaliere gave a little slash towards Alex Johnson as he was stepping off the ice. Lavaliere being pulled back onto the ice because the Prowlers are supposed to exit first. Everybody separated at center, and both teams heading to the locker room with chants of fight, fight, fight coming from the McMorran faithful. It's getting testy. 40 minutes gone, and the River Dragons have a 2-0 lead. Shots are tied up right now at 26 for the game. Prowlers won the shots battle in that second period at 19-13, but they still trail on the scoreboard. It's 2-0. Coming up in the second intermission report, we'll chat about the game so far, which just got a little bit spicier right there. We'll also take a look at the Prowlers' upcoming schedule. The final road trip of the regular season is going to be upon us very shortly. That will be up there. You'll have to put on the coffee next weekend for some late games. We'll also take a look at what's going on the rest of this weekend, the game stats, out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more. It's all coming up on the second intermission report right here on the PHP Network, as the referees have some sorting out to do after that second period, after the end of it. And we will let you know just as soon as the penalties come down exactly what they are. But for now, and the Prowlers trailing the River Dragons 2-0. Well, secure your seats for the Prowlers' next home game as they host the Binghamton Black Bears on Friday, March 29th, with puck drop at McMorran Place scheduled for 7:05 p.m. Tickets are available online at phprowlers.com/tickets, by phone at 810-985-6166, or by scanning the QR code on your screen now. That's online at phprowlers.com/tickets, by phone at 810-985-6166 or scan the QR code on your screen now to experience Prowlers hockey live and in person at the Old Barn, McMorran Place, the way it was meant to be enjoyed. This will also be your only chance to see the Binghamton Black Bears this regular season. It's the only time the Black Bears and the Prowlers match up. Black Bears will also face the Motor City Rockers this weekend. Black Bears broadcaster Brooks Hill is in the house around here somewhere, as I guess they got in earlier today as they get set for their matchup with the Port Huron Prowlers tomorrow. Be sure to be there to see it. We'll take a break. 2-0 Dragons through 40 minutes. You're watching Port Huron Prowlers hockey on the PHP Network.
I've worked at Pioneer and now Corteva for 36 years. It goes by very quickly.
This is a pretty noble profession for your giving back to humanity.
Curiosity is so important. I learn something new every day.
What's that next challenge that may occur for farmers? You do really feel like you've got an impact on what's coming.
I can see how we're making things better.
And we have the best solutions for our farmers. And I think we're here to feed and fuel the world. I'm proud to be part of that culture, and I'm proud to be part of the company.
At Hungry Howie's, we're famous for flavor, and this is our Chief Flavor Officer. Every hour of every day, our CFO obsesses over the tastiest ingredients, combining them to create new flavor combinations your taste buds never knew they needed, until now. Introducing his latest master pizza, the Pepperoni Duo. A delicious combination of classic cut pepperoni, original pepperoni, 100% mozzarella cheese, and our famous flavored crust. 2 kinds of pepperoni, all kinds of delicious. Hungry?
Howie's!
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com. Seriously, not even that much better than you.
Should have just got a ticket from phprowlers.com.
I should have just bought tickets at phprowlers.com.
I got it!
I should have just got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
I I should have got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
They should have just got tickets
at phprowlers.com. They've cleaned up the Chuck-a-Pucks here at McMorran Place. After 40 minutes of play, a low-scoring affair. The Columbus River Dragons have a 2-0 lead. Will Wiggleman back with you on the PHP Network. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Well, we have the penalties from that scrum at the end of the period. And Sequoia Swan and Tucker Scantleberry each get 2 for roughing. Swan picks up an extra 2 for cross-checking, and that's it. So the Prowlers will start period 3 on a man advantage, which they've had a number of in this game. They've had 4 so far, but they are 0 for 4, and that includes a 5-on-3 that lasted over a minute. They've gotten some good looks. They've gotten their opportunities, but William Lavaliere has been phenomenal in net, making a couple of saves that he necessarily shouldn't have made, stretching across, using his entire frame. He's a big presence in net. Again, standing at only 6 foot, which isn't all that tall for a goaltender, but at 205 pounds, he takes up a lot of space, and he has stopped all 26 shots the Prowlers have thrown his way here tonight. On the other side for the Prowlers, they've been very tight defensively. They've been able to hold the top guns for Columbus really at bay. Justin McDonald has been very quiet in this game. He doesn't have a point, and he came in with a 37-game point streak dating all the way back to December 1st, but he doesn't have anything. Kyle Moore, who's his line mate, has a goal, but that came on the power play. His other line mate, Ryan Hunter, also without a point. He's on a 10-game point streak coming into this game. The Prowlers have done well to contain the top guns, and just a couple of well-worked plays by the Dragons, and both times really not much of a chance for Ian Wallace, as Columbus has been able to get guys behind the defense twice, and they've been able to score on each of those opportunities, both on nice moves to the net, fake the shot, and go around. So the Prowlers, who also have gotten big saves from Ian Wallace. You think of the one on Kyle Moore in tight all the way back in the first. That's kept it as close as this game is, but William Lavaliere is the big reason why this score is what it is. Certainly the Prowlers could have had 1 or 2. They've missed the net on a few good opportunities. Might need to adjust the sights up there in the Prowlers dressing room, but other than that, Lavaliere has come up big a number of times for the River Dragons and kept them ahead, and that's where we are, 2-0 Columbus, as we get set for period number 3 coming up in less than 10 minutes from now. First game, again, of a 3-game weekend where the Prowlers face the top 2 teams in the FPHL. The Binghamton Black Bears will be in the building tomorrow, and then the Dragons again on Saturday. But before all of that, the third period, and before the third period, along with the out-of-town scoreboard and the game stats, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back right here on the PHP Network.
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
Let's go. They're seriously not even that much better than you.
Should've just got a ticket from phprowlers.com.
I should have just bought tickets at phprowlers.com.
I got it!
I should have just got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
I should have got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
They should have just got tickets
At phprowlers.com. Wrapping up the second intermission here at McMorran Place, and it's the Prowlers trailing the Columbus River Dragons by a score of 2-0. Will Wiggleman back with you on the PHB Network. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. First game of the 3-in-3, but before we take a look at that game so far, let's look at the out-of-town scoreboard as the Mississippi Seawolves have a 2-1 lead on the Baton Rouge Zydeco through the first period of play. Connor Mullins, who was signed today out of ACHA McKendree University, has his first goal as a pro. Jackson Bond as the other one for Mississippi, while Tyler Larwood scored on the power play for Baton Rouge. That's where they stand through 20 minutes, and again, if that score holds and Mississippi is able to pull it out, the Seawolves will clinch the final playoff spot in the Continental Division and their first playoff berth in franchise history. So that's one we'll be keeping an eye on, and certainly at the end of this game might be worth tuning into when this one is over. But still 20 more minutes to go here from McMorran Place before then. Take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Prowlers. It's Dragons, Bears, and Dragons here at McMorran Place this weekend. The final 3 games of a 5-game homestand for Port Huron that started last weekend when they defeated the Elmira River Sharks in back-to-back shootouts. 7:05 starts for both of those games, and then all of a sudden, here's April, and the Prowlers begin April down in Baton Rouge, where the Zydeco will likely be eliminated from the playoffs, if not tonight, then over the next couple of nights. Prowlers get the Zydeco again. They're 2-0 against Baton Rouge. Those are some late games. They're Central Time, so 8:30 Eastern, 8 o'clock Eastern. Coming up on April 5th and 6th. That's the second to last weekend of the FPHL season. Prowlers will wrap things up with our good friends down the road, the Motor City Rockers. And I know I've seen Ben Zalagi in the chat at some point so far. He's just a big fan of mine, I guess. Let's take a look back at the game happening here tonight. Shots are tied up at 26 apiece. Prowlers took 2 penalties in the first, and the Dragons had the only 2-man advantages of the opening 20. They got a goal on one of them, and the Prowlers had the only 4 power plays of the second. They were 0 for 4, including a 5-on-3 that lasted over a minute, got some shots off, but William Lavaliere has been phenomenal between the pipes. And if you're giving out stars of the game right now, he is certainly the first star. And let's get back to that scrum. Again, right at the end of that period, in case you missed it, Sequoia Swan and Tucker Scantleberry get matching 2 minutes for roughing, and then Swan picks up the extra 2 for cross-checking as he came in on Alex Johnson right at the beginning of that scrum. That's what started it all after, well, really what started it all was Johnson giving Alexander Jemayev an extra whack after the horn. That drew Jemaev's ire, and then Swan came flying in, and it all broke loose. It even got down to Lavallieres. He and Johnson were trying to leave the ice at the same time. Prowlers are supposed to leave the ice first here at McMorran Place, but Lavallieres gave Johnson a little tap on the ankle as he was heading off, but that will just get left alone. That's all right. But again, the Prowlers with a man advantage to start this third period, and a huge opportunity to get back in this game. They've not been able to take advantage of their power play opportunities thus far. We'll see if man advantage number 5 can be any different as both teams are getting set to hit the ice. Take a look back at our PHP Network trivia question, which I foolishly immediately gave away the answer to when I asked it. But Justin McDonald had a 37-game point streak, or he currently has a 37-game point streak. And we wanted to know what the longest point streak was by a Prowler last season. And of course the answer is number 92, Dalton J. And a big part of that streak came against these River Dragons in December when he helped the Prowlers get their only victory against Columbus last year. Well, so McDonald, of course, that streak is in jeopardy as he has not picked up a point in this game so far. But we'll see if he can get one here in the final 20 as the Dragons hit the ice. Again, Prowlers will be on a man advantage to start things off. See William Lavallieres hitting the ice. 26 saves on 26 shots through the first 40 minutes of this game. He is searching for his first shutout in the FPHL. His goaltending partner, Brendan Colgan, who's the backup tonight, one of 2 goaltenders in the FPHL with 2 shutouts this season. The other one, Connor McKenna from the Binghamton Black Bears, who the Prowlers will see tomorrow, and they may see McKenna in between the pipes. Ian Wallace set in the goal crease to our right, 24 saves on 26 Dragons shots. As Petrantonio still has a little bit of time to serve from his 2 and 10 from about midway through that second period. He's having a chat with Steve Gowdy. Ryan Hunter going towards the box as well. Surely Sequoia Swan should be in there. Scantleberry has to serve 2. So 3 Dragons and 1 Prowler in the box, with Petrantonio finishing off his misconduct. Prowlers are ready to go. They've replaced Scantleberry this time with Dan Chartrand on this power play unit. The Chartrand, Connor Foley, Freeborn, Johnson, and Bartlett. Well, the Dragons counter with Storjahan, McDonald, Balkwell, and Underwood. So the third period is underway here from McMorran Place. Prowlers need a couple. They haven't gotten one yet tonight. As they enter offensive territory, Connor Foley after that puck. Bulkwell reverses back up the strong side, and now Johnson able to set things up. Connor Foley collapsed on by McDonald, able to push it towards the middle, but Underwood skates into it, sends Storjahan in shorthanded. His shot blocked. McDonald tried to turn it towards the cage. Wallace will play it for Foley. Freeborn up the right wing side. Works into offensive territory. Freeborn centering feed, not in a good shooting spot for Johnson. And he had to handle it a little bit awkwardly. That gave the Dragons a chance to clear out. Minute 10 to go on the Prowlers man advantage. They switch up the unit. Austin Federley, watched by Bersani, drops it back for DeCumbis. Makes a move, gets in. DeCumbis, a shot off the glove of Lavoyer. It looked like from this angle it might have bounced behind him, but it didn't. Funny thing about seeing things from a certain angle is that one knocked out by Wickline. That was in and out of the glove of the River Dragons netminder. Sometimes it's the harmless shots that can get a goalie, and Prowlers almost got it there. 25 seconds to go in this man advantage report. Huron fired across to Evan Foley. Sim takes it off the wall, centering feed to Cumbus again. That one couldn't find the target. Federley back towards the net, scooped up by Lavoyer for a whistle and a face-off. Petrantonio is out of the box. Hunter will be next in just 7 seconds. Chartrand, Bartlett, and Vaughn getting the opportunity for Port Huron. Batted towards the net. Bounced off the boards. Heinzel collects in his own end. And another power play gone by the wayside for the Prowlers. They get one shot on it. Now look to work out. But Underwood puts it right back in. Parsons. Up to Vaughn. Takes the return feed from Bartlett. Run into the wall by Doe. Popped up in the air. Now Petrantonio hustling up the right wing side on Heinzel. Toe drag shot. Couldn't find the cage. Karams all the way back down. Here's Slahetka. This time Petrantonio just touches it in. And Brian Parsons hangs out behind his own net. Duncan tried to put it back forward. Schumacher rims it to DeCumbis, looking for Evan Foley out of his reach. Off the turnover, Hunter a turnaround try. Off the back glass. More to the point, Slaheka, wrister, and eaten up by Ian Wallace. .44 to go in period 3. And Sequoia Swan, the only one left in the penalty boxes, is to continue to serve his 4. That's not affecting on-ice manpower right now. Face-off won by McDonald. Backhand try by Moore, blocked. It bounces around, and McDonald finds it on the wall. Tried to send it all the way through. Couldn't find a teammate. Sim towards DeCumbis. He touches it in. Sim in front. Foley tied up. Now Schumacher. Johnson makes a move. Works around the outside. Schumacher again. Down low to Cumbis. Trying to slip it in front. Blocked by Duncan. And now it's worked out to Moore. Has help coming. Kyle Moore to McDonald. He scores. And Justin McDonald extends the point streak to 38. And he extends the Dragons' lead to 3-0. League leading team high, 39th goal of the season and league leading 107th point of the year. For Justin McDonald's, that one went 5-hole on Ian Wallace, and a big insurance goal for the Dragons here in period 3. So let's see if the Prowlers can respond. Heinzel up to Scantlebury, he tips it in. Lavalier rims it around. There's Storjahan. Let out for Bersani, too far ahead. Now Shinkarik fed it across and Federally able to knock it down. Connor Foley, that's back in. Taken away by the Dragons. Now here comes Columbus into offensive territory. Now Scantlebury has a break the other way, and he's stopped by Lavalier, who will cover up for a whistle and a face-off. And that looks like just about the best chance for the Prowlers in this game. Offensive zone face-off for the Prowlers. Deck off the backboards. Vaughn couldn't put it out in front. Now Jamaev rims it around. That one all the way through the slot and all the way down. And now Deck right back on it in his own end. Just over 5 minutes gone in period 3. Jay to Bartlett off the boards. Vaughn works his way in. Now Balkwell rims it around. Petrantonio harassed by Jay, able to find a teammate in Jamaev. He starts to turn up ice. Fanned on the dump attempt. Able to get it deep on the second opportunity, but he ended up drawing his team off sides on the first attempt. As Deck fires it up in Jay's direction, but it hopped over his stick. And we'll take a break. 14:20 to go in period 3. You're watching Port Huron Prowlers hockey on the PHP Network.
I'm proud to serve farmers because everything they do matters.
If I could choose one word to describe a farmer, I would say essential.
Dedicated.
Enterprising.
The most creative people.
They're providing food for the rest of the world.
Some of the qualities I look for when hiring is personality, perseverance, someone that's determined. We want to be able to hire someone that understands what we're supporting, and ultimately that's the grower.
Come fill McMorran Place at every Prowlers home game this season. General admission tickets are just $15 with discounts available for seniors, military, students, and children under 12. Upgrade your experience in one of our suites, or bring the whole squad to the game with discounts for groups of 10 or more. Find your best option to visit the Thumb Coast professional hockey team by visiting phprowlers.com and find the tickets tab, or call the box office at 810-985-6166. Secure your seats today. 14:20 to go in period 3. It is 3-0 as the River Dragons get a goal in each period so far. The latest one coming from Justin McDonald, the front runner for league MVP. And speaking of league awards, I did get an opportunity to help the Prowlers vote for those. Officially, the Prowlers get 2 ballots, and I was able to be a part of one of them, and I did put Justin McDonald down as my MVP. Although this year is a little bit different. You can only really pick players within your own division for most of the awards. Slaheka taken down behind the net. That's going to be a penalty against Vinny DeCumbus, tripping the call. And Columbus to the man advantage. So the Dragons with a chance to tack on a fourth. And Columbus coming into this game, outscoring their opponents by about 2.5 goals per game. They're averaging 5.3 goals per game and just 2.74 goals against. So while the 3 is below their season average, they still have some time. As McDonald gave it to Storjahan in the slot, but he whiffed on the shot, and Port Huron unable to clear. Prowlers have been shut out once this season. That was in Danbury by Connor McCullum. Here's Moore all the way around the net. Tried a centering feed for McDonald. He picks it up off a skate. And another pass to Storjahan. Couldn't get it in a shooting position. Dragons set back up. It's McDonald. Down to Storjahan. Walks up the half wall. Back to McDonald. Storjahan again. Lets it rip. And a save by Wallace. And that is 27 saves for Ian Wallace so far in this game. And in all likelihood, he will have over 30 saves for the third straight start. He did in both games last weekend against Elmira, both shootout wins. Hunter marks up high, steps in, and feeds it down to Jemayev. Hunter again, switches spots with Shinkarik, drops the puck to him. Shinkarik down low, they score! Tipped in front by Nolan Slahecka. A second power play goal in the game for Columbus, and they have a 4-0 lead. Ninth of the year for Slahecka. First one on the man advantage. First year with the Dragons after he spent last season in Knoxville. And also won the Commissioner's Cup along with Justin McDonald and Alexander Jemayev back in 2022. And they'll drop this puck again, crowd reacting to it going into the net. This time it comes on Wallace. He won't let it go in the net. He'll cover up for a whistle and a face-off. So the draw coming all the way back down into Prowlers territory. Scantleberry set to draw against Bersani. Bersani wins it back. Wickline turning on deck, but his back pass goes out of the zone. Kicked forward by Parsons. Turning it back in is Swan. Knocked off his stick. Bartlett able to loft it out. Shinkarik up the boards. Play it right into an oncoming Scantleberry, though. And now Layton trying to keep it away from Vaughn. Swan. Back around to Shinkarik. Hangs out behind his own net in no hurry. He's watched by Jake Vaughn, the rookie wearing number 96. Swan into offensive territory. Little dipsy doodle around deck and a diving poke by Wallace kept that from being a shot on goal. As Swan able to dance around Braden Deck. Those two head after the puck. Deck stops up in the corner. And Parsons gives it back to him. Vaughn at the red line, cross corner dump. Balkwell and Scantleberry after it. Jemayev tried to loft it out, hits Scantleberry. Freeborn comes in to scoop it up. Alex Johnson back across to Schumacher. Now Johnson again, watched by Jemayev. Chips it along, heads after it. Johnson beats Underwood to the loose puck. Connor Foley comes out with it, and his shot stopped by Lavaliere. Petrantonio dumped in. Schumacher lost it, and Doe from below the goal line as his attempt stopped by Wallace, and he covers up. Bounce attack for the Dragons so far tonight. More than half of their skaters that are dressed have a point. Cody Wickline and Kyle Moore leading the way with 2 points apiece. Wickline a couple of helpers, and Moore a goal and an assist. McDonald wins that face-off back with speed. He picks it up again, try to back pass to the front. That was blocked away. Chartrand up towards Evan Foley. Able to get his way in, but Underwood took the puck away. Now Johnson up back towards Foley, pops up in the air. Chartrand taken down, and another penalty called. Another tripping penalty. Those have been popular tonight. And this time it's going against Nathan Balkwell. So the Prowlers to the man advantage. Looks like my clock seems to be wrong. They have 10:08 up on the big board here at McMorran Place. This time, Prowlers sending out Evan Foley's unit. They'll take the draw against Bersani. Austin Federley, the one split out to the near side. But the pass back by Jay off the draw, out of DeCumbus' reach, and the Prowlers have to regroup. Evan Foley back in. Sends it to the top. Federley came charging in. Bersani wanted the breakaway pass. Federley did all he did to prevent that. And now DeCumbus. Knocked back to Jay. Over to Sim. Drops to Federley. Down to Tristan Sims. Centering feed came all the way through the slot. And Bersani sends it the length of the ice. 45 seconds gone on the Prowlers' man advantage as they begin to switch up the unit. There's Scantleberry up the left wing side. Tried to slip past Slahecka. Petrantonio dumps it all the way back down. Wallace out of his goal crease to play it. They'll rim it towards Bartlett. Now Connor Foley. Try to pass across, that was read perfectly by Wickline. He'll float it in the direction of Petrantonio. Wallace again out to play it away. There's Scantleberry. Took a big check from Brody Duncan. And Petrantonio with another clear. 32 seconds left on this power play for the Prowlers. No shots yet on it. Haven't really gotten a chance to set up. There's Dalton Jay. 2 Dragons there on top of him. Connor Foley able to pull the puck out of the pile. Bartlett out high to Johnson, but pass slipped through. Swan and Johnson after it. There's Sequoia Swan around the net. Got it back to center. We're back to 5-on-5. And the Prowlers' man advantage continues to be stagnant, but that is icing against Columbus with 8 minutes left here in period 3. We'll take a break. You're watching Port Huron Prowlers Hockey on the PHP Network. 8 minutes left to go in period number 3. Prowlers trailing the Columbus River Dragons 4-0. And so far in this game, they are 0 for 6 on the man advantage. Been a big reason why they haven't been able to get on the board is their inability to convert on the power play, but another even bigger reason has been the play of William Lavaliere, who's made some big saves. He's searching for his first shutout in the FPHL. Underwood able to fight off Chartrand and get out. His dump stopped by Wallace, and then Underwood came flying in. No harm, no foul, though. Swan and Chartrand getting a little bit tangled up. The two number 21s, both from Manitoba. Swan's hometown listed as Winnipeg. Of course, Chartrand from Dauphin. Top line out now for Columbus. Evan Foley able to win the faceoff away from McDonald. Johnson first to retrieve the loose puck. This pass to DeCumbus hit Moore's stick. Now Chartrand able to get out. Underwood came in on him. Dragons have to touch up for offside. And now Balkwell gets the red line. Tried to dump that hit a stick. Landed on Hunter's tape. Hunter turns and fires it to the corner. McDonald behind the net to Moore. Johnson able to steal it from Kyle Moore. And now Federley lofts it out and down. Duncan first on it. Lead pass, touched on for Hunter. Has some spaces, shot goes wide. Fired across to the far side. Moore in front towards McDonald. Bounces off his stick, he recollects. Hassled by Parsons. McDonald able to get it deep. The return feed towards him was deflected by Schumacher. And back to River Dragons ice. 6.5 to go in period 3. We haven't had a shot on goal in quite a while. Here's Doe working in, and he ends that drought with a shot that's gloved by Ian Wallace. 6:16 to go in the final frame of regulation. Prowlers barring a significant comeback here. Dropped the first game of this weekend. They went 4.5 minutes without a shot on goal, by the way. That included the entirety of the Balkwell penalty. Dragons looking to extend their win streak to 7. As Petrantonio had that locked up in his skates. Petrantonio, that one knocked away. He recollects it away from Bartlett. Still working. Jamaev couldn't get it deep. Dragons captain once more, but he's forced out by Parsons. And now Slahecka. D to D to Brody Duncan. He lofts one towards Jamaev, has to stop and glove it down before backhanding it in. Johnson and Doe coming together in the corner. Parsons on for Scantlebury. Ross Bartlett works his way in. Puck taken off his stick neatly by the Dragons, and Wickline looks to go out. Passes up to Shinkarik. Over the blue line, towards the front of the net, and it's scooped up by Wallace as Bersani was tied up with Schumacher on his way to the cage. Just over 5 to go here in period 3. Dragons still with a 4-0 lead. Prowlers have put 29 shots on William Lavaliere, but unable to find the back of the net. Off the face-off, here's Vaughn. Steps around Shinkarik. Storjahan took the puck. Sim tried to take it back. He goes down to the ice. Vaughn digging away. Worked up to Storjahan. And dumped all the way down. And that will just have enough for icing. And we'll get a whistle, a face-off, and we'll be right back here on the PHP Network.
At Hungry Howie's, we're famous for flavor, and this is our Chief Flavor Officer. Every hour of every day, our CFO obsesses over the tastiest ingredients, combining them to create new flavor combinations your taste buds never knew they needed. Until now. Introducing his latest master pizza, the Pepperoni Duo. A delicious combination of classic cut pepperoni, original pepperoni, 100% mozzarella cheese, and our famous flavored crust. 2 kinds of pepperoni, all kinds of delicious.
Hungry?
Howie's! We invite you to tune into our next broadcast tomorrow when the Prowlers host the Binghamton Black Bears. Puck drop is scheduled for 7:05 p.m. and the pregame show starts at 6:50. It's all right here on the PHP Network. That will be the one and only regular season meeting between the Prowlers and the Black Bears, and the only other time they'd be able to meet would be the Commissioner's Cup Final. And certainly both teams hoping that they meet a second time this year. Here comes Wickline. Gives it over. Storjahan's shot. Waffle boarded by Wallace. Connor Foley pins Wickline up against the boards. Around the net is Bersani. Sends it back over to the far side. Storjahan to the point. Shinkarik. Watched by Freeborn, looking for a shooting lane, sent it through traffic, and Wallace got a piece. Connor Foley. On to Austin Federley, has Freeborn with him. They'll chip it right in on Lavaliere, who lost it for a moment, but able to get on top of it and gather it for a whistle. Dragons up on shots in this third period, 10-4. They came into the period up 2-0, and the Prowlers were hoping they could get a push to get back in this game. But a couple more failed power plays have led to the Dragons finding some momentum and picking up a couple more goals. Lavaliere out of his goal crease to play it. Comes up to the point. Johnson had his shot blocked up by a stick. Bulkwell gloved it down. Now McDonald looking towards the net. Couldn't feather the pass through for Moore. Moore down the boards. Bartlett tried to skate out with it, but it got blocked up. McDonald in front looking for Moore, but Bartlett was in the area and just distracted Kyle Moore enough to let that puck slip all the way back down. Approaching 3 minutes to go in regulation. Parsons over to Schumacher. Lofts it all the way down, but couldn't find a friendly stick. That's going to be an icing against the Prowlers with 2:57 up on the clock. A timeout has been signaled by Steve Gowdy, so Matt Graham using his timeout. It's Graham solo on the bench right now as Chris Paulin is away right now, continuing to recover from his injury. We wish him the best. Hopefully he heard me. Wish him the best. Because I wish nothing but the best for Prowlers assistant coach Chris Paulin, but he should be back soon helping Matt Graham run the bench, and from what I hear, they'll both be on crutches at the same time. That will certainly be a sight behind the Prowlers bench. The two coaches with the crutches, and of course Bridget will be back there as well. It's just been a tough night for the Prowlers. Haven't been able to get anything by William Lavaliere despite their best efforts. They've had some good opportunities, not much in the odd man rush department, just really the one breakaway from Scantlebury, and that was just a partial breakaway. They've gotten some good shots from the slot, some backdoor plays, some of which haven't hit the net, and others Lavaliere's gotten enough of. 30 saves right now for the Columbus netminder. Jamaev steps out of the corner, cycles it towards Doe. Schumacher on him. Jamaev turning on Parsons, gives it over to Petrantonio. Back around, Jamaev cycles it below the goal line. Doe centering feed. Petrantonio didn't get all of it as he was blanketed by Connor Foley. And Wallace able to collect the glove on top. .37th shot of the game for the River Dragons. They need to come this quickly out there to complete this forward line for the Prowlers. That shot deflects to the corner boards. Kept in by Duncan. Federley, little toe drag, and he works his way to the blue line. Wallace thought about going to the bench, but the Prowlers lost control. But Matt Graham being aggressive, down by 4 with 2 minutes left. He's still prepared to pull Ian Wallace. To Cumbus, to Freeborn, gives it right back. Wallace on the bench. A 6-on-5 attack for Port Huron as Dalton Jay comes in to be the extra attacker. It's moved along to Cumbus. To the top, Freeborn. Down to Federley, reversed in front, knocked back to him. Backdoor feed, this time knocked out of the zone by Duncan. Prowlers have to touch up. Johnson skates in around Shinkarik. And he's shoved to the ice by Carter Shinkarik. Jay with the puck, down for DeCumbus. Out high, Johnson. Sent it on through, it was deflected wide. Fired to the line. And Freeborn knocked it down with his glove. Johnson touched it next. So that's a hand pass against the Prowlers with 57.9 up on the clock. Looks like Columbus set to move to 41-4-3. That will be 122 points for the FPHL leading Dragons. Wallace back in his goal crease with the face-off in the neutral zone. This will be the Dragons' 17th road win. They're 17-4-2 away from home just as soon as time expires. And Wallace able to recollect that one as he stopped it. It popped up in the air and then landed right next to him. Clock continues to run. And why not? We need a couple more delays to this one. We'll see how long they hold it for. I'm just going to start my clock as soon as the puck drops, and we'll see how right I am. Unless they're going to actually reset it, which it looks like that's actually what they're doing. They put it to 53. Off the face-off, shot from the line. Blocked on the way through. Federley waits, watched by McDonald. The lead pass tipped up in the air by Shinkarik, and Scantlebury uses his head to get that one in the zone. Comes back out though. Here's McDonald. Dropping it off for Moore. Down to McDonald, centering feed. Ends up on Connor Foley's tape. In the final 30. Evan Foley circles back. And that pass off of a Dragon skate and just misses the now vacated cage. That would have been on the blooper reel had it gone in. Jake Vaughn. In the final seconds of this one, Shinkarik sends it all the way down, and that's going to do it. Prowlers shut out for the second time this season, and William Lavaliere makes 30 saves for his first FPHL shutout, and certainly his best performance as a River Dragon. Before we get into the post-game show, another chance to remind you to tune in tomorrow when the Prowlers and the River Dragons, the Prowlers and the Binghamton Black Bears get together here at McMorran Place. Puck drop scheduled for 7:05 p.m. Pre-game show starts at 6:50. It's all right here on the PHP Network. Well, the Prowlers were certainly in this one throughout. They went shot for shot with the Dragons up and down the ice. Had the better of the play at times, but really what let them down at a big portion was their power play, which went 0 for 6 in the game. And before we continue, just want to take one more check at the Mississippi game. And the Seawolves up 6-1 now on the Baton Rouge Zydeco. So if that continues to hold, unless the Zydeco can make a 5-goal comeback in the third period, the Seawolves will clinch the final playoff spot in the Continental Division. But back to this game, and the Prowlers, again, did a good job keeping the big guns quiet. They kept Justin McDonald off the board until the third period, although they do give him the third star of the night. Kyle Moore, the second star, with a goal and an assist, and Lavaliere, deservedly so, the first star of the game, a 30-save performance. He was the best player on the ice, I think, in this game, at least for Columbus, as he kept the Dragons ahead at times, and he also kept the Dragons ahead by 2 at other times when it looked like the Prowlers were pressuring. They were getting their good opportunities in tight in the slot back door. Lavaliere came up with some huge saves throughout the game, as Columbus comes in and takes the first game of the 2-game season series. The second game will be Saturday night here at McMorran Place. But first, the Prowlers take on the Black Bears. The Dragons head south to Fraser to visit the Motor City Rockers. As a little bit of mixing things up, that's something we can do with the Prowlers and the Motor City Rockers being just 45 minutes down the road from each other. Cody Weckline for the Dragons dishing out a couple of helpers that led all players. But a low-scoring affair goes the Columbus River Dragons' way. 4-0, your final here from McMorran Place. Prowlers, again, back at it tomorrow against the Binghamton Black Bears. All right, 7:05 puck drop. You get your tickets in advance at phprowlers.com/tickets. But for now, for Kim running the camera, I'm Will Wiggleman. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the PHP Network.